Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Growing Up with Sisters. My name is Morgan Amanda, and on this platform, we talk about all things faith, self care, and adulting. If you are new here, be sure to subscribe, and if you end up liking this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up. As you can tell by the title of today's video, I'm going to be letting you guys in on 5 things that you need to know now that you're transitioning out of college. Ready or not, let's get started. So, for most of us, we have spent a majority of our lives in school, right? Entering kindergarten around the age of 4 to 5, and then graduating high school by 17, 18-ish. But the journey doesn't necessarily stop there. If you have had parents like mine, going to college was not an option, but mandatory. And so by the time I was 22, I was officially a college grad. Now, like many of you watching, at that time, I felt very frustrated, lost, burnt out, and even cheated. Like, imagine spending almost 20 years of your life in a system that tells you what to think, what to wear, what to eat, and where to go. It almost hits you all at once. Like, one minute you're getting ready to walk across the stage, taking a picture with your diploma, celebrating your newfound freedom with your friends. And the next thing you know, your parents are asking you, okay, what's next? Student loans are counting down the days until you can start paying them off. Your peers all seem to be landing these amazing jobs, and well, you're still coming to terms with the fact that this is it. This is the real world. And while it's easy to feel overwhelmed and unsure of yourself during this time, I'm going to give you guys 5 things you need to know now that you have graduated college. Now, all of these tips are going to help you find some sort of direction. A lot of the information I will be giving you is based off of my own personal experience, as well as the incorporation of a couple of books I've read during this chapter of my life that have helped me out tremendously. So, take what applies. Number 1, if you are uncertain about whether or not you want to go back to school right away, your main focus at this point in time should just be to get some kind of experience. Even if you think you want to go straight into higher education, you have to remember that you are going to be competing with people that are more experienced and people that are older than you, right? And this is not to discourage you, but it's just to remember that you will be competing with other applicants. And the best way to stand out is to get as much experience as you can under your belt. So personally, when I first graduated, I went straight into the workforce because personally, I wasn't too sure on what it was that I wanted to do. And the last thing that I wanted was to go right back to school and rack up a lot more student debt in something that I did not actually see myself doing long term. And so my parents weren't really too fond of me taking a couple of years off. They felt like it was just better for me to finish school all at once. But I will say that the 2 years I took before going to graduate school actually helped me to solidify not only my choice to go, but what my major was going to be and also what school I was going to attend. So, moral of the story, don't be afraid to take some time off just to explore. Number 2, now, landing the right job can be challenging in the beginning. I've personally seen a lot of people post their frustrations about entry-level jobs, still asking for years of experience. If this is your situation, I would recommend doing some volunteer work just for a couple of months. What's Next, which is one of the books that really helped me get the ball rolling when I first graduated, offers a lot of insight when it comes to how to put your resume together, how to write a cover letter, who you can contact to make sure that your application gets seen. All of these things will help you get familiar with the field and ultimately make connections that can help you in the future. Number 3 is networking. So you know how people say it's not what you know, it's who you know? Well, in this case, it's a little bit of both. Utilizing your connections can get you in the door when it comes to job hunting or even volunteer work. So don't be afraid to reach out to your professors, your old classmates, your advisors, and people like that. Why? Because closed mouths do not get fed. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and talk to people. I know so many people, myself included, who simply asked around and was able to get recommended to open positions. Next is number 4. And number 4 is do not worry about the pay. Let me say that again.
Don't worry about the pay.
Now, I know what you're saying. What do you mean, don't worry about the pay? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to go out with my friends? How am I going to book flights for trips? Right? I get it. But to be very transparent, the first job that I had coming out of college was only paying me around $14 or $15 an hour. Now, in that time, car insurance was the only thing that I was pretty much paying for aside from, my student loans. And the car that I had at the time ended up breaking down for good. I just remember during that time feeling really defeated, and I actually cried to my father saying like, I'm super broke, I can't afford anything. What is the point of all of this? I'm someone who spent 4 years, right? The last 4 years getting a degree, and I'm making so little. Now, where I was, I needed a car to get around. And so, where was I going to get this money to buy a new car? Now, you're probably thinking, girl, I would never take a job paying that little with a degree. And I actually had an old coworker of mine say that exact same thing to me. However, to this day, I am extremely grateful that I did take that job, because the year and a few months of experience that I was able to get from working there allowed me to then get a job with a much higher pay, more time off, and overall better benefits. Oh, and your girl got a brand new car. Now, would I recommend a job that pays that little? No. But your main focus should be on getting the experience that you need that's going to help you move up the ladder. So again, don't focus on how much you're going to make in the beginning, because in the beginning, that's going to be the least amount that you make during the span of your lifetime. Last but not least, tip number 5, you are not an imposter. I repeat, you are not an imposter. I'm telling you, no one is expecting you to have it all together right now. Think of yourself as the newest fish in the pond. You are adjusting to your surroundings. You're figuring out, what's what, and ultimately creating a path for yourself. That is what this time is. It is time for you to explore and figure out, what is it that you enjoy? What do you hate? What are you good at, right? What are your weaknesses? And ultimately, what do you think you can see yourself doing? It is extremely easy to get stressed out because, there's seemingly a lack of direction, but that's the whole point. Be open to trying new things, meeting new people, and don't get caught up in trying to be perfect. Because really, perfection is pretty much tailor made, meaning it's about what works for you. And the only way that you're going to figure out what works for you is by putting yourself out there. So remember, if you don't like something, you can always pivot. And most importantly, guys, we got to exercise grace for ourselves, right? Everyone's journey is different. Please try not to look at what everyone else is doing and just focus on where you are. A lot of times, like I said, we see our peers getting all of these amazing opportunities, or, it just looks like their lives are going a lot more smoothly than ours are. But on Adulting, which is another really great book that I'm going to recommend you guys check out, it really highlights how everyone at this stage of life is pretty much feeling the same way, right? It's not just you. Just focus on yourself, and eventually you will begin to feel things fall into place. Now, the last thing that we are going to do in this video is pretty much just listen to a couple of people's experiences about what it was like for them after graduating. And I am going to be giving some advice. And I also want to just encourage you guys in the comment section below, if there's a story that you hear that you feel like you can offer, words of advice for, or just a couple words of encouragement, please feel free to do so. Let's get started. All right, so the very first one says, after college has been so hard. I have had a rough transition after college, with most of my friends still being in school while I'm working. I miss my old life, and it hurts knowing I won't get that back. I'm not sure what to do. It's not the same making friends in the adult world. Tell me about it. I'm scared that it will only get worse as the years go by. Has anyone had similar problems or success that life does get better? Okay, this is what I will say. Life definitely does get better, but it really depends on how proactive you are, right? So when it comes to making friends, this is something that you are going to have to go out of your way to do. And a lot of people are not prepared for that, especially when they first come out of college. 9 times out of 10, you are either going to school close to home or you're on a college campus. Everyone that you know, everyone that you meet is in close proximity. It doesn't take a lot of effort to see people in class and to go out on the weekends and things like that. So, this area of your life can get a lot better, but it just depends. Are you someone that is willing to initiate meetups with people? Are you someone that is willing to get rejected a couple of times, especially when it comes to making new friends, right? Are you someone that actively goes out and is looking to make friends? Or are you someone that pretty much just stays to yourself, stays secluded or isolated? These are some of the things that can be barriers when it comes to this area of your life. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Definitely being proactive. And this doesn't just go for friendships, it goes for a lot of different areas of your adult life. Being proactive, having a goal in mind, and actively working towards that goal. Because, yes, it's going to be rough in the beginning, but if you know the direction you're trying to go in and the steps that you need to take in order to get there, over time, things are going to progressively improve. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one says, what do you do after college? I'm kind of having a crisis. What do people do after they graduate? Are y'all happy? Do you have friends? Like, what am I supposed to do? Just work all day, then go home? What about when I'm 50? Like, should I just stay in school the rest of my life? Just let me know what the graduates are doing and if y'all are depressed or not. All right. So to answer this one, yeah, post grad depression is definitely a real thing. Similar to the last person that we just heard from, it really just depends on how proactive you're being. Like I said, if you're someone that wants to be social and have a life outside of work, you're going to find ways to do that. It's all about who you are as a person, what you want for yourself, and then what you're going to do in order to get those things, right? So I remember for me, when I first started working, I was working a 9 to 6 schedule, and I would come home, especially in the winter time, around like 6:30, and I'd be so upset because I'm like, bruh, I'm super tired. It's dark outside. I don't want to go out, but at the same time, I want to go out. I just don't have the energy, right? And so I learned at that point in time, one, your body's going to have to adjust, which it did. But then number two, when I move on to my next job, I'm looking to work a job where the hours are earlier. So I have more time in the day. If I want to take a nap after work, I can do that and still have time to go out with my friends and hang out. Make sense? All right, last one. So this last one is a little bit longer, but it says advice on adjusting to a 9 to 5 after college. It's been months and I'm not adjusted, I think. Context, they work from home, they live with parents, they are a male. Okay. So I feel like every day is the same monotony. Wake up, shower, work, breakfast, either gym in the middle of the day or after work, get off work, take a mental health walk, dinner, video games with friends, watch a few episodes of a show, sleep. Sometimes I work on hobbies if I feel up to it. I mean, I'd love to go out and do stuff, but a few issues are that one, I feel more sleepy and lethargic and introverted nowadays, but maybe going out will fight against that. Two, most places are 30 plus minutes of a commute away. Okay. Public transportation is the city. Number three, back to point one, I feel more lazy and less energetic than I was in college, perhaps because I work from home. I guess I sort of miss the spontaneity and proximity with friends and people my age during college, especially if it's in environments that aren't necessarily like parties, clubs, bars, etc. Any advice on how to escape this slump? Well, my friend, I'm going to tell you one thing. Working from home is very convenient, but it can lead to living a sedentary lifestyle. You need to be up and moving. That's the only way that you're going to have more energy. But essentially, this is a part of your life where you get to be in control of what it looks like. You are ultimately the creator, you're the one designing everything. And so if something doesn't work for you, figure out what that thing is and look for ways to change it. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's episode. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out the description box below where I will be posting the 3 books that really helped me during this time of my life. If you are anything like me and love a good book, especially one that speaks to where you currently are in life, definitely feel free to check them out. I'll be back next week with more content. See you soon.